I'm 86 years old, and I want to tell you about the year I finally stopped calling them coincidence. There were 9 of them. 9 small moments. A song, a waking hour, a bird at the window, a number, the wind, that I had spent 80 years waving off like flies at the supper table. Nothing a man could prove to a single soul. Just timing, arriving again and again, until I ran clean out of ways to explain it away. And when I finally sat still and let all 9 of them stand, I did not feel foolish, and I did not feel certain. I felt honest, maybe for the first time in my long life. So come and sit close to the fire with me a while, the way we used to before the world got loud. I am not going to tell you these 9 were magic. I am not going to promise you the sky is sending you a telegram, or that a bird can tell you your tomorrow. It is not superstition. It is not a trick of a tired old mind. It is attentiveness, the patient noticing my people handed down like a good warm coat, one I very nearly let slip from my shoulders. Have you felt it too, and never once known what to call it? Stay with me, and I will show you all 9. My grandfather said the mind is a screen door. It does not keep everything out, it only slows it down. As a boy, I thought a mind was a locked room, and whatever got in, I had put there myself. But he meant that a man is never sealed off as tight as he believes. Word travels, weather travels. The people we love travel in ways that have nothing to do with roads. He would tap his head and say, "Most of what visits you here came from somewhere, and the fool is the man who thinks he thought of it alone." For 80 years I was that fool. Have you been him too? Let me give you the first. The first, and my first confession, is a song. Some old tune I have not thought of in years rises up in me at the sink, and before I finish humming it, the telephone rings, and it is the very one who loved that song. My grandmother would say the aspens taught me that. A whole grove of them trembles on a single root underground. Move one tree, and you have moved them all. A man is nearer his own kin than the miles between their houses would ever let him believe. For 80 years I called that nothing but chance. A tune, a ringing phone, 2 things that happen to land together in the same quiet minute. I do not call it chance anymore. That is the first, and I set it down here by the fire because it is the smallest and the easiest to laugh off. And yet it was the loose thread that, once I pulled it, unraveled all my careful certainty about the other 8. Before I go on to the second, let me set one small thing down beside you, because I have learned it does a man no good to hide the plain truth. So many of you, more than these old hands could ever answer one letter at a time, have written to me asking how a person even begins to notice 9 such things across one long and ordinary life. So I did the only thing I know how to do with what I have learned. I gathered them all into my book, The Native Way, and the link to it is waiting for you in the description below if your heart ever wants it. No pressure at all in my saying so. It is only the old attentiveness set down on paper, so it would not be lost with me when I go, the way so much of the old knowing already has been lost. I am here by this fire whether you ever open it or not, and this fire is warm either way. Now, let me give you the second, for there are 8 more of them waiting, and one of them, I promise you, will crack you clean open the way it once cracked me. The second is an hour. I wake in the dark, no clock in the room, and it is the exact hour I lost someone years back. The same few minutes come around again. The old people said the river does not read a calendar, yet it rises the same week each spring. The body keeps what the mind agreed to lay down. Have you woken like that and told yourself it was nothing? The third is a bird. A hawk cuts across the sky at the very turn of a hard choice. My neighbor Walter watched a hawk circle 3 times over his barn the morning he decided to sell it, and never once doubted the timing again. Mind you, the hawk was already up there before Walter chose. It did not come for him. He only learned to notice when his hour and the hawk's happened to line up. The 4th is a number. One string of figures that kept finding me all through a hard season. On a receipt, a mailbox, the clock again. The woodpecker does not hunt a fresh tree every dawn. It returns to the one already listening. Some seasons, a number is only knocking at the door already standing open in you. The fifth is a kindness, a small one from a stranger, on a day you did not think you could stand one more unkind thing. There comes a day like that to everyone who lives long enough. You have swallowed every sharp word a body can swallow, and one more, you are certain, will be the one that finally breaks you clean in half. And on that exact day, not the day before, not the day after, a man you have never met holds a door and waits. Or a young woman at the counter looks you full in the face, unhurried, and says, "Take your time, sir, there's no rush at all." On any other day it would be nothing, a courtesy, forgotten by supper. On that day it is water in the desert. My grandmother had a saying for it. Rain, she said, does not ask which field asked for it first. It falls hardest on the one that has gone driest. I used to call kindness like that plain luck, the way weather is luck. Now I think the field was parched, and the rain came, and the only wonder in it is that I happened to be standing out in the open with my face turned up, instead of hurrying past with my collar pulled high and my eyes on my own shoes. How many of those small rains have fallen on your driest afternoons? And how many did you feel land, and how many did you walk straight through? I walked through 50 years of them. I do not walk through them anymore. The sixth is a face. You are thinking of someone, not longing after them, not grieving, just an idle turn of the mind toward a person you have not laid eyes on in 20 years. And you round the corner of the market, and there they are in the flesh, older and grayer, but unmistakably them. My grandmother said the ones we carry in our thinking are never as far off as the miles say they are. She did not mean it as a spell, and I will not sell it to you as one. She meant that a person you have truly loved is never wholly absent. Some part of them goes on living and moving inside you, keeping its own quiet weather. And every so often that inner weather and the wide outer world happen to agree on the very same afternoon. Is that so hard to believe? We all accept that one old smell can haul a whole lost childhood up out of the dark in a single breath. Why should a face be any stranger than that? For the better part of my life I would have said small world, given a polite nod, gone home and let it slip my mind by morning. Now, when a face I was just holding in my thoughts comes walking toward me on two legs, I stop where I stand. I say the name out loud. I let the meeting be exactly what it so plainly wants to be. Proof that the two of us were never as far apart as all those silent years pretended. When did a face you had just been thinking of last turn the corner toward you? And what did you call it? The seventh is a storm. There was one long afternoon when I finally made a decision I had been carrying, undecided, for the better part of a year. A heavy thing. The kind that costs you something dear no matter which way you finally turn. And no sooner had I said the words out loud to my empty kitchen than the sky over the ridge went black and simply broke open, thunder rolling down the valley, rain coming hard on the tin roof like 100 drums. And then, as fast as it came, it passed. And in its wake there was that washed, ringing quiet that only comes after a hard rain. And I found I was quiet too, all the way down, for the first time in a year. Now I am an old man, but I am not a fool. The sky did not tear open because I made up my mind. Weather is only weather, and that storm was rolling in whether I decided a thing or not. But my grandfather and the old ones taught that when the two happen to arrive together, the breaking of the storm and the breaking of your own long deadlock inside, it is worth sitting still a while and noticing. Not because the storm bent to your will, because you were finally quiet enough and cracked open enough to feel the true weight of what you had done. Have you ever noticed the weather break the very hour something broke loose in you and told yourself, of course, coincidence, and gone on in out of the rain? I told myself exactly that for 80 years. I am done telling myself that now. The eighth is an old thing that comes back around. My grandfather's pocket knife, sunk to the bottom of a drawer for years, and my hand closes on it the very week I most need reminding of what he taught me with it across his knee. Or a hymn I have not sung since I was a boy in short pants, humming itself up out of me, unbidden, on the one gray morning I most need its particular old comfort. There was a woman in our valley we all called Grandmother Weaver, and she kept a chipped white bowl up on her shelf for 60 years. The whole family teased her over it. Throw the old cracked thing out. It holds nothing. She never could, and if you asked her why, she could not have told you. Then the week her youngest boy left home for good, she took that bowl down and held it in both hands and understood at last. It had been her own mother's, and some deep and patient part of her had been keeping it against exactly this kind of hollow, emptied morning for 60 years, and never once knowing that was the reason. My grandmother would say a tool set down in a drawer is not gone. It only waits, the way a seed waits in the cold, dark ground, doing nothing a soul can see, saving itself for the one season it is finally needed. What have you held on to that you could never once explain holding? Do not throw it out just yet. It may only be waiting, quiet as that seed, for the morning it was always meant for, and the ninth, the last of them, and the one I have sat with longest of all. The wind changing its direction at the very moment I said goodbye to someone I knew, down in my bones, I would not see again in this life. I said the word, and the air simply turned, and a cool breath came up the valley from the far side and lifted the hair off my forehead, and then it was gone. My grandmother would say the pine does not choose which way it leans. The wind alone decides that, and the pine gets no vote in the matter. But a man can still choose to notice which way the wind was blowing at the hour the goodbye was spoken. And that, in the end, is all any of these 9 really are. I cannot make the wind turn, or the hawk circle, or the old song rise up in me. I can only choose whether I am awake when they do. And here is the whole of my confession. The thing it took me 86 years to finally say plain. Not one of these 9 ever proved a single thing to anyone but me. Not one would stand up in front of a hard man who wanted to laugh it off. And somewhere in this last decade, I quietly stopped needing it to. That was the freedom hidden in the whole business. I stopped calling them coincidence, and I stopped needing another living soul to agree. Now I want to be careful with you here, because I know how this can curdle if a man is not gentle with himself. This confession of mine is not a long list of failures I am finally owning up to. Naming these 9 was not the same as hating myself for the 80 years I spent explaining them away. Hear me plain. These 9 were never my shame. They were my growth. A man can still grow at 86, and that is the whole marrow of what I am telling you tonight. I do not lie awake calling myself a fool for every song I dismissed, every hawk I did not look up at, every kindness I hurried past with my collar up. That is not what noticing is for. Regret is only another way of missing the present, and I have missed enough. So I have chosen to call those 80 years not wasted but grown through. Every coincidence I brushed off was a seed of the noticing I finally carry now. Here is the gentler truth I found. Every one of these 9 had a door in it. And a door only ever means one thing. You can walk back through it. The song will rise again. The number will come around again. Some morning the wind will turn again at a goodbye, and this time I will be standing there awake, with my face up, ready to let it be what it is. Nothing was used up by the years I slept through it. The world did not stop offering just because I was slow to answer. It kept knocking, patient as a woodpecker on the one door already open in me. And it is knocking still, so why would it be too late to rise and answer? It was not too late for me to grow at 86, and I promise you it is not too late for you. So let me gather this up for you now, the way my grandmother gathered the ends of her shawl before she stood to leave a room. 9 noticings, a song before the call, a waking at the lost hour, a hawk at the turn of a choice, a number that keeps its own faithful visits, a stranger's kindness on the driest day, a face you were just carrying come round the corner, a storm that breaks the very hour you do, an old thing that surfaces the week its lesson is needed, and the wind turning at the goodbye. Now turn them toward your own life, the way I finally turned them toward mine. Do you notice which songs rise in you and when? Do you look up when the bird crosses? Do you let the kindness land, or do you hurry past? Or do you do what I did for 80 years, call it all coincidence, and go inside and shut the screen door on the whole trembling grove of it? I can hear the question under your quiet, because it was mine for so long. Is it too late for me? You are older now, and you think the noticing years are behind you, spent, gone with your good eyes and your good knees. They are not. The song does not check your age before it rises. The wind does not ask how many birthdays you have had before it turns. Everything I have named is still out there, still arriving, still knocking, and the only thing it is waiting on is for you to be a little more awake than you were yesterday. Nothing has left. It is all still here. And so I promise you, are you? So before you go, let me hear from you, because your voices have become the other half of this fire. Of these 9, the song, the hour, the bird, the number, the kindness, the face, the storm, the old thing, and the wind. Tell me which one hit closest to home for you tonight right down in the comments, for I read every single one. And whatever you write there, stay a while, sit with me again tomorrow, and come back to this same fire, because a house this old holds its heat, and there is always a chair turned toward the door with your name on it.